afternoon. It's Wednesday, May 6. I'm Mai Rodriguez for your Midday Report. We'll be giving you the stories shaping the nation at this hour. Let's get you up to speed. Today's top stories. The NBI arrests PGMN founder Franco Mabanta and 4 others over robbery-extortion charges. The articles of impeachment against Vice President Sara Duterte has now been referred to the Committee on Rules. The unemployment rate slightly eases in March. And global superstar Jennifer Lopez is selling her Beverly Hills mansion for almost $50 million. The National Bureau of Investigation arrested a social media personality and his alleged associates for supposedly plotting to blackmail former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Andrea Salve is reporting live from Pasay City. Andrea, what do you know so far?
Mai Peanut Gallery Media Network founder Franco Mabanta and 4 other associates remain at the NBI custody as they await inquest proceedings over robbery, extortion, and cybercrime charges. The group is accused of allegedly plotting to blackmail former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The NBI says Mabanta's group demanded up to 350 million pesos in exchange for withholding the release of a supposed expose implicating the lawmaker. Reports add that the amount was eventually negotiated down to 300 million pesos with an initial payment of 75 million pesos. Authorities say Romualdez's camp sought the NBI assistance, leading to an entrapment operation conducted Tuesday night by the Organized and Transnational Crimes Division. Mabanta was arrested at a country club in Pasay City, along with John Alexander Gomez, reportedly an incorporator of the network, and 3 other employees. When asked for a comment, Mabanta denied the allegations, saying, and I quote, "How can we extort when they were the ones who came to us?" He declined to elaborate further, saying he has yet to consult with his legal counsel. Mai.
Andrea, linawin lang natin, ano? So, ano daw, ang kausap daw di umano ni Franco Mabanta ay si former House Speaker Martin Romualdez mismo. At doon ba sa entrapment operation, sino ang humarap o nakipagkita kila Mabanta?
Mai, according to the NBI, it was a representative of the former House Speaker who was approached by Mabanta's group. And they reported na itong conversation na to or itong transaction na to allegedly started a year ago, tapos nag-die down lang and then resurfaced 2 weeks ago. During the entrapment operation, it was the operatives of the NBI, Organized Transnational Crimes Division, who met with Mabanta's group. Mai.
So Andrea, let's not forget, this is related umano doon sa flood control scandal. Ano? So marami ang nagtatanong, itong 75 million pesos na upfront na ipakita naman daw yung pera, saan daw nanggaling ito? At galing ba mismo ito kay former speaker?
May actually yung pera na pinag-uusapan dito ay magkakahalong marked at budol money. May.
Ano ibig sabihin nito, yung budol money? Can you explain that to us?
Yung budol money, May, ay fake money no, na hinanda ng NBI para doon sa entrapment operation. May.
Okay. Final question, Andrea. Yung 4 others who were arrested along with Mabanta, can you tell us what you know so far? What do you know about them? There are reports also that one is the founder of a financial consulting firm. Tama ba?
May, the NBI did not release the names, but according to NBI Director Melvin Matibag, one of them is allegedly a director of the said network, and the other is, if I remember it correctly, is a finance officer of the network, while the 2 others are their employees. Mai.
Thank you. Andrea Salve reporting to us live from the NBI headquarters in Pasay. Now, Franco Mabanta had a short interview with the media at the NBI. Let's watch this.
So it's not true?
Social media.
I haven't seen it. I don't have my phone.
So hindi totoo lahat? Tinatanggi mo, hindi totoo lahat?
It's not true. Definitely not true.
Now, who is Franco Mabanta? Here's what we know. Franco Mabanta is a media personality, political strategist, and digital communications practitioner known for his involvement in political messaging and online media. He is the founder of Peanut Gallery Media Network, a digital news and commentary platform launched in 2024, producing political and social content across major social media platforms. Mabanta formerly served as President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s social media strategist, while the latter was still a senator. His work has focused on media, consulting, and digital platforms with an emphasis on messaging strategy, audience engagement, and online influence. For now, we are waiting for a comment or a reaction from PGMN and Mabanta's camp. In other news, the articles of impeachment against Vice President Sara Duterte has been referred to the Committee on Rules after reaching the plenary. May live report si Isaiah Mirafuentes mula sa Batasang Pambansa. Isaiah, go ahead. Kwento mo nga sa amin ano nangyari kagabi at ano na ang schedule dito sa impeachment.
Yes, May, kagabi nga ay umabot na sa House Plenary ang articles of impeachment laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte at nai-refer na rin ito sa Committee on Rules na sila namang magtatakda ng schedule kung kailan ito sasalang sa plenaryo.
Anong magiging basehan ng kanilang no vote na hindi naman nag-present ng opposing, ng countervailing o ng counter evidence si VP Sara? So ano magiging basis ng no vote nila?
Mag-alas 9 kagabi nang makarating na sa plenaryo ng House of Representatives ang committee report ng House Committee on Justice kaugnay sa impeachment ni VP Sara. Kalakip nito ang resolusyon na naglalaman ng articles of impeachment. Nasa kamay na ng House Committee on Rules kung kailan ito uusad sa plenaryo. Pero ayon kay ML Party List Representative Laila de Lima, posibleng umusad na ito ngayong araw for sponsorship at sa susunod na linggo ay sumalang na ito sa deliberation at botohan. Ngunit ngayon pa lang ay kinwestiyonan ni de Lima ang mga mambabatas na posibleng mag-no for impeachment dahil hindi niya alam kung ano ang kanilang basihan. Binatikos rin niya ang sinabi ni VP Sara na bakit maging ang kanyang mga kaanak ay nadadamay sa mga pagdinig. Ani de Lima, hindi nila kasalanan kung nadamay maging ang pamilya Duterte sa kanilang investigasyon at iginiit niya na hindi pamumulitika ang impeachment dahil wala naman silang pakialam sa politika o sa mga away sa politika at tanging katotohanan lang ang kanilang pinagbabasihan. May bago tayo umere, nakausap din natin si House Committee on Justice Chair Representative Jennifer Lopez. Sinabi niya sa atin kanina may base sa kanyang rekomendasyon, sariling rekomendasyon, gusto daw niyang mangyari ang sponsorship sa Monday o sa next week na rin, which is sa Monday. At after daw noon ay posibleng magkaroon na rin ng deliberation at sa mismong araw na rin daw na yon ay maganap ang botohan. Maliban nga dyan, matapos ngang may mga ilang mambabatas na magpahayag ng kanilang mga boto na sila ay mag-abstain at no for impeachment. Nakausap din natin kanina si Representative Chel Jokno at Representative Persis Endanya. Ang sinasabi nila kanina, naniniwala sila na posibleng may mga political pressure na nararamdaman ang mga mambabatas at iyon ang pagbabasihan nila sa kanilang magiging boto. At ang ibang mga mambabatas ay hindi ebidensya ang pagbabasihan, kundi natatakot sila na baka matalo sila sa 2028 election. Mai.
Isaiah, since posible nang lumusot itong impeachment sa Kamara, naghahanda na ba sila ng panel of prosecutors?
May ayon kay Representative Jennifer Lopez kanina, yan din ay isa sa mga pagbobotohan ng House Plenary kapag nga maganap na ang botohan at kapag sure na talaga na lulusot o lumusot ito sa Kamara. Pero ayon kay Representative Jennifer Lopez, kung siya raw ang tatanungin, meron na raw siyang ilang mga suggestion, Mai. Kasama na nga rito si Manila Representative Joel Chua, si Congressman Zamora, si Bicol Party List Representative Terry Ridon, si Congressman Kit Flores, si Congressman Lawrence Defensor, kasama na nga rin dyan sina Congressman Chel Jokno at Congresswoman Laila de Lima. Pero ayon kay Luis Tromay, yan lang daw ay sarili niyang desisyon dahil nga ang ilan sa mga ito ay naging prosecutor na noong nakaraang impeachment ni VP Sara noong 2025. Mai.
Maraming salamat Isaiah Mirafuentes ng Abante, nag-uulat ng live mula sa Batasang Pambansa. Senator Panfilo Lacson wants to deal with the flood control mess in the most objective way. He admits personal relationships at the Senate can get in the way of getting support for the Blue Ribbon Committee report. Hannah T. is live from the Senate. Hannah, what else did Senator Lacson say?
Mai, if we are going to prioritize getting along with everyone, then we might as well stop conducting hearings. That's the response of Senate President Pro Tempore and Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Ping Lacson when asked about how the relationship is going between fellow senators who are actually implicated in his chairman's report in the flood control scandal. Even with the names of fellow lawmakers, Senators Cheese Escudero, Joel Villanueva, and Jinggoy Estrada, Lacson said he was simply performing his duty as head of the Blue Ribbon Committee. He stressed that personal relationships should not override accountability. The three are part of the list of names being recommended for preliminary investigation and case build-up. Lacson also revealed that some members of the minority had allegedly asked certain senators not to sign the report yet, possibly to prevent it from being reported out to the Senate floor. But he acknowledged a human factor among some senators who have refused to sign the partial report, saying years of working together in the Senate naturally create personal relationships that may affect decisions. At the same time, he added that even those named in the report should be given the opportunity to clear their names through due process. Mai, Lacson's report may eventually become part of the public record and be used by the Ombudsman. He said the committee is now preparing the transmittal of all evidence, testimonies, and documentary records to the proper authorities. Lacson did not yield to questions on the floor yesterday after delivering the speech, but responding to questions Estrada earlier raised on who the mastermind was and whether the money returned by some resource persons was enough, Lacson said it would be difficult to identify a single mastermind because of how wide and organized the system had become. Lacson described the flood control scandal as the reincarnation of the pork barrel system, only this time he said it's bigger, more sophisticated, and more systematic. According to the report, the system revolved around allocables, insertions, and project distributions that were allegedly used to facilitate kickbacks and corruption. Mai?
Hana, may update ba dito sa report mismo? Kasi ang dami nang nag-aabang, kailan ba to maisasubmit doon sa kinauukulang investigative body or agency?
Mai, sa ngayon, they're gathering the important testimonies and evidence bago ito idiretso sa Office of the Ombudsman. Pero on the part of the Blue Ribbon Committee report, sa ngayon, Mai, 7 out of 9 signatures na yung pumipirma. Nadagdagan yan kahapon at yan ay dahil pumirma si Senator Raffy Tulfo. So kailangan na lang ng additional 2 signatures bago ito maipadala sa Senate Bills and Index Section at tuluyan na ngang i-sponsor sa plenary. So nananatili namang kumpiyansa or confident itong si Lacson na makukumpleto, and despite that may in-announce na rin ni Lacson na magkakaroon na nga ng susunod na Blue Ribbon probe. It's just that they're finalizing the date at kung sino-sino yung mga pwedeng dumalo. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Hannah T, joining us live from the Senate. Out of sight, out of mind. Despite the developments surrounding the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte, she says she has not informed her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, about the latest moves in Congress. The Vice President explained she wants to protect him from worry while he remains in detention in The Hague. VP Sara again addressed their supporters in the Netherlands. And now Ched Gatchalian joins us for the details. Ched?
Yes, my Vice President Sara Duterte said she has ensured yet to her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, that she is facing another impeachment case. In an interview with her supporters at The Hague in Netherlands, VP Sara said she prefers not to let her father know the developments in the House of Representatives following the House Justice Panel's adoption of its report, setting forth the articles of impeachment against her. She said the news will only make Rodrigo worry and overthink inside this detention facility.
Dapat ang alam lang niya ay yung mga happy na mga bagay, lalo pati nag-iisip tayo na baka nga dyan siya bawian ng buhay sa loob, no? Dyan siya mamamatay sa loob ng detention. So dapat yung maalala niya at naiisip niya ay yung mga masasayang bagay, hindi yung mga kalokohan, korupsyon at abuso ng mga congressman at iba pang politiko.
VP Sara also hit the Congress about what she called made-up impeachment case. Even her former running mate under the Unity banner, President Bongbong Marcos, was not spared.
Hindi din natin alam kung bakit nangyari ang mga nangyari na nanalo siya. Pero para sa akin, nagsinungaling talaga siya sa kanyang gusto gawin para sa bayan at sa kanyang mga kapasidad na maging Pangulo.
Meanwhile, Duterte complimented Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste and Cavite 4th District Representative Kiko Balzaga, saying they're similar in terms of their concerns on the administration. Duterte also applauded what she called the courage of the two lawmakers, stressing they're willing to speak about their criticisms despite possible supposed retaliation from other parties. VP Sara has a message to the Marcos Jr. administration regarding energy crisis and skyrocketing inflation rate.
Sobrang taas ng presyo ng fuel, crudo, sobrang taas nung palitan, dollar exchange, and sobrang taas nung inflation. Sa akin lang, kung hindi man kaya tulungan ng administrasyon, ng gobyerno, lahat, dapat tulungan nila yung mga pinaka nasa ilalim.
Meantime, VP Sara expressed her gratitude to those who continue to support her despite the impeachment case she is currently facing. Mai?
Chad, yesterday, VP Sara declared that she is a presumptive candidate for 2028, and this has drawn quite a reaction from her critics. Now, has she responded to the backlash?
Yes, Mai, that's right. VP Sara said it's a norm or a culture in politics that her rivals or enemies will paint her black just so they can appear white. She said she already expects criticism following her declaration to run in 2028 elections. She also warned against those who spread disinformation online, saying troll farms exist, making the political game even dirtier. Although VP Sara didn't give a specific example of the supposed fake information online, Attorney Michael Poa, the spokesperson of her defense team, denied yesterday some reports that the Vice President allegedly threw a laptop at him. The said issue was brought up over the weekend, Poa says. That's all for now, Mai.
Thank you, Ched Gatchalian reporting. Up next, the unemployment rate eases in March this year. The details after the break. Stay tuned to Midday Report. You're back on Midday Report. The country's unemployment rates likely eased in March this year. Che Sulit is joining us live now from the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. Che, what are the figures?
My unemployment rate eased in the Philippines to 5% here in March 2026. That's slightly lower than the 5.1% recorded in February. However, on a year-on-year basis, unemployment worsened from the 3.9% recorded in March 2025. The Philippine Statistics Authority reported that the labor force participation rate also decreased at 63.3%, with 1.69 million Filipinos joining the workforce. This brings the total number of Filipinos in the labor market to 51.65 million.
Kaya hindi sila naka-participate sa labor market, so they opted for schooling and household family duties. Pero may mga dagdag din tayo sa ating reason na they feel there's no work available, about 34,000.
Despite the improvement in unemployment, this still translates to more than 2.5 million individuals without work. Meanwhile, underemployment remains elevated at 12.3%, affecting over 6 million Filipinos. National Statistician and PSA Undersecretary Claire Dennis Mapa says that while unemployment has slightly improved, the impact of rising oil prices is still evident in the labor data. Following the Middle East war that intensified in the latter part of February, fuel prices began to spike due to disruptions in the global oil markets and supply chain. Month on month, fishing and aquaculture posted the largest drop, with around 420,000 fewer employed individuals.
Marine fishing ito yung mga mangingisda natin nasa municipal fisher folks, so sila yung gumagamit ng diesel din. So may impact sa kanila kasi nabawasan.
Other service activities, including domestic work, also saw a sharp decline of 299,000. MAPA adds that households may be cutting back on spending due to rising costs of goods and services driven by global price pressures. Manufacturing also recorded a decline, with 217,000 fewer employed individuals.
So sa ngayon, ang masasabi lang natin dito sa March, may mga subsectors tayo na affected, as I mentioned kanina. Pero kung ito ba tuloy-tuloy, moving forward, wala pa tayong enough evidence.
MAPA says that the PSA continues to monitor the impact of the ongoing conflict on the labor market. He adds that additional data and further findings are expected from the April Labor Force Survey, which is expected to be released next month. That's the latest from my end. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Chess Sulit from the PSA headquarters. Rising transport costs linked to global tensions have prompted close market monitoring. But the Agriculture Department says price movements in basic food items remain limited, with exceptions in select commodities. Ivy Reyes joins us now on the line for more on this story. Ivy, go ahead.
Mai, since the war in Iran resulted in higher transportation costs, the Department of Agriculture said they have not observed drastic changes in prices, especially in highland and lowland agriculture products. The only commodities with observed changes are pork and carrots, with pork's previous figure is at 380 pesos, but is now selling for 420 to 450 pesos. In Quezon City, where the DA monitored prices this morning, pork is currently at 410 pesos. On the price cap for imported rice, the department is still awaiting the go signal and approval from the executive. No date has been set on when the cap will be implemented, but the DA said it should be expected very soon. Before the implementation, DA said they're studying how this will impact retailers' income, which is why they will gradually enforce it to accommodate their sector. Law enforcement personnel will help facilitate the price cap, and violators would answer to fines and prison time if found guilty of not abiding by the price cap. The DA notes they do not want any cases of liability once the implementation starts, urging sellers to strictly follow their order. Now, imported rice sells better than local milled rice, as confirmed by both the retailers and the Agriculture Department, largely due to the higher cost of local palay. As of May 5, the daily price index in NCR for regular milled imported rice is 42 pesos and 50 cents, while regular milled local rice sells for 44 pesos and 79 cents. Meanwhile, tilapia records the cheapest retail price among fish products at 155 pesos per unit, while tanigue is the highest, costing 630 pesos per unit. Imported liempo also sells cheaper at 314 pesos, while local liempo sells for 404 pesos. For the convenience of our viewers, the daily price index is available at DA Bantay Precious social media pages. As of yet, the DA is also looking at setting the retail price of carrots at 100 pesos a kilo as compared to the recent price at 120 pesos a kilo. Mai.
Thank you. Ivy Reyes reporting from Malacanang. An economist argues that the government could have moderated April's 7.2% inflation rate if the VAT and excise taxes on fuel were removed. April's inflation is the highest in 3 years, deepening concerns over rising prices and the cost of living. On BNC's The Spokes, Undersecretary Noel Leco said the government has become addicted to taxation, particularly the value-added tax, which he said is now deeply entrenched in the system.
To me, I think it could have been moderated a little bit, not very much, if they took care of the value-added tax and the excise tax. Why? Because that can also bring the price of fuel a little bit.
Are you suggesting taking out the excise and the VAT?
Take them out.
Well, what happens to our public finance?
Well,
Umutang na lang tayo.
no, that is not true. I think that is not just a one-way street, that when you take out value-added tax and excise tax, you lose. No, I think that is also one way of stimulating the economy. You put more money in the pockets of our consumers, they will be buying.
So you expect them to increase spending?
Yes. Where will they put their money? You know, they will not stay in their pockets. They will have to recirculate in the economy.
Caloocan 2nd District Representative Edgar Erice is floating a possible tandem of Mar Rojas and Grace Poe in the 2028 presidential elections. Erice tells BNC's at the forefront that the two were supposed to join forces in the 2016 presidential elections.
I'm just floating ideas. At baka naman maisip nila na baka pwede mag-reset. Hindi naman ito naman para sa bayan. Pareho naman silang qualified.
He also appeals to voters to change their mindset in choosing the country's next leaders.
Naghahanap tayo ng kandidato laban kay VP Sara dahil mataas yung kanyang survey. So anong hinahanap natin?
A savior.
No, ang hinahanap natin yung may mataas na survey na pwedeng lumaban. So ang basis natin hindi competence, hindi integrity, hindi qualification. Ang basis natin kung sino yung pwedeng manalo.
Pulse Asia may not automatically remove the names of Senators Erwin and Raffy Tulfo from its pre-election surveys. It can be recalled that Senator Erwin requested their names be withdrawn, explaining that they do not intend to seek higher office. On BNC's On Point, Pulse Asia President Ronald Holmes said a formal letter is required before any changes can be made. Holmes adds that Senator Cheese Escudero has also submitted a similar request.
It will depend internally on how we discuss essentially the impact of such omission on our part in terms of the assessment of pre-election preference. In most cases, we do. For example, I think most recently we got an indication from Senator Cheese Escudero to exclude his name from any of the vice presidential and the presidential race. He was open for the election, but he basically stated formally, please exclude me from the presidential and vice presidential race. So let's anticipate maybe Senator Erwin or Senator Raffy Tulfo would send letters to the survey organizations and say, please exclude me from the.
Pulse Asia also announced that another presidential survey will be conducted in June when the impact of the impeachment case against VP Sara Duterte may be more apparent. In the latest numbers obtained by Bilyonaryo News Channel, VP Sara and Senator Raffy are leading in a potential two-way presidential matchup, while Naga City Mayor Leni Robredo trails behind. The Office of the Executive Secretary has admitted a delay in the release of financial assistance in Batangas. This comes after Congressman Leandro Leviste claimed that more than 80 barangays in his district were not able to receive aid, allegedly due to tension with Batangas Governor Vilma Santos Recto. On BNC's Politico Nightly, Undersecretary Georgina Hernandez Yang explained that the delay was caused by incomplete documentary requirements.
Noong una, kulang po yung requirements. Kukwento ko lang kung ano yung requirements natin. Kailangan po may request letter na nakalista kung ano po yung programa na gagawin ng barangay. Kailangan po may notarized deed of donation. So kung minsan hindi notaryado, so kailangang ibalik para ma-comply. Kailangan din po may sangguniang resolution. Mayroon tayong proper na documentation, yung identification card ng ating kapitan, na may mga 4 na pirma, yung bank certification, pati po yung tamang pag-accomplish ng official receipt. So sa totoo lang po, hindi lang sa Batangas, no? Bagamat gusto natin na mabilis na makarating yung tulong sa tao, hindi natin sinasakripisyo yung tamang proseso.
Let's now check on Albay, where more families have been forced to evacuate amid the continued unrest of Mayon volcano. Millions worth of agricultural products have also been damaged. For the latest, we now go live to Ryan Relobano Abante reporting to us from Camalig. Ryan, kamusta na ang sitwasyon dyan?
Hindi pa rin makampante ang mga residente sa paligid ng bulkang Mayon dahil sa hindi matiyak na galaw nito. Sa mga nakalipas na araw, naitala ang salit-salit na paghina at paglakas ng aktibidad kabilang ang pagdaloy ng laba, pagbuga ng abo at paglabas ng makapal na usok. Ngayong araw, May 6, 2026, sa pag-iikot natin, kalmado naman pero kaninang 8:15 ng umaga ay bahagyang nagbuga ito ng abo. At dahil dito, mas marami pang pamilya ang napipili kang lumikas at nananatili sa iba't ibang evacuation center sa Albay. Ayon sa Albay Public Safety and Emergency Management Office, 80 na barangay ang pinadapa nitong pag-aalboroto ng bulkan. Kabilang na ang mga bayan ng Tabaco, Legazpi, Ligao, Camalig, Malilipot, Santo Domingo at pinakaapektado ang Daraga at Ginubatan na una ng mga ito na isinailalim sa state of calamity. Umaabot naman na sa mahigit 120,000 na individual ang apektado mula sa nasabing 8 bayan kung saan pinakamarami ang nasa halos 100,000 na individual sa Ginubatan. Habang tumatagal naman ang pananatili sa evacuation center, lalo ring lumalala ang epekto nito sa kabuhayan ng mga residente, lalo na sa mga magsasaka. Ayon sa Albay Provincial Agriculture Office, umaabot na sa 6,694,229 ang kabuang pinsala sa agrikultura dulot ng patuloy na pag-aalboroto ng bulkan batay sa pinakahuling tala kahapon. Pinakamalubhang na apektuhan ang mga pananim ng palay at high-value commercial crops sa mga bayan ng Camalig, Ginubatan at Daraga. Sa sektor ng palay, 87 na mga magsasaka ang direktang apektado. Sa Camalig, 24.26 na ektarya ang tuluyang nasira na nagkakahalaga ng higit 2.3 million pesos. Sa Ginubatan naman, may 17 na ektarya ang bahagyang napinsala. Sa kabuuan, umaabot na sa mahigit 2.6 million ang pinsala sa palay pa lamang. Mas malaki naman ang lugi sa high-value crops na umaabot sa higit 4 million pesos. Nangunguna ang Daraga na may halos 2.8 million pesos na pinsala mula sa 9.25 na ektaryang taniman. Apektado rin ang Ginubatan, Camalig kung saan libo-libo ang halaga na nasirang pananim. Bukod sa pinsala sa mga pananim, nangangamba rin ang mga magsasaka sa pangmatagalang epekto ng volcanic ash sa lupa na maaaring makaapekto sa susunod na taniman. Patuloy naman na minonitor ng mga otoridad ang kalagayan ng bulkan at ng mga sakahan upang agad na makapagbigay ng tulong, kabilang na ang posibleng assistant at rehabilitasyon sa mga apektadong magsasaka. Samantala, pinapayuhan pa rin ng mga residente na manatiling alerto at sumunod sa mga ipinatutupad na safety protocols habang nananatili ang banta ng pag-aalboroto ng bulkang Mayon. Sa gitna ng pabago-bagong aktibidad ng bulkang Mayon, malinaw ang panawagan ng mga residente, agarang tulong, sapat na suporta at katiyakan sa kanilang kaligtasan at kabuhayan. Mai?
Maraming salamat, Ryan. Reloba ng Abante, live mula sa Albay. An update on the Strait of Hormuz, sports, news, and the weather. That's up next when Midday Report returns. The 48th ASEAN Summit and related meetings are happening in Cebu. Let's get the latest from Marian Uy. Marian, what are the scheduled events today?
On the second day of ASEAN Week in Cebu, a joint press briefing was held earlier by the Deputy Director General and spokesperson of the ASEAN Philippines National Secretariat, ASEC Dominic Imperial, and Department of Trade and Industry Undersecretary Attorney Alan Hefty. The two officials clarified the importance of discussions related to the security of ASEAN citizens amid the Middle East crisis. They emphasized the need for strong cooperation among ASEAN countries to ensure regional stability. From the Department of Trade and Industry side, Attorney Hefty highlighted the importance of micro, small, and medium enterprises in ASEAN integration, especially in Cebu, which serves as a key logistic and economic hub, as well as a center for maritime connectivity in the region. Also happening now is is Secretary Claire Castro's press briefing, and the ASEAN Business Media Exchange for the Department of Trade and Industry recognizes Cebu's MSMEs. This is one of the side highlights at the International Media Center, featuring 6 sessions with directors and presidents of different business groups. This evening, several ASEAN member state leaders are expected to arrive in Lapu-Lapu City. Tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, the 27th ASEAN Economic Community Council meeting will be held at Lusitani, Mactan, to be followed by the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. Mai?
Thanks, Marian Uy, reporting from Cebu. The United States pauses a key effort to escort ships in the Strait of Hormuz as talks with Iran show great progress. President Donald Trump says the mission to guide stranded tankers will be halted briefly while both sides try to finalize and sign an agreement, even as the blockade remains in place. The White House did not specify what progress had been made or how long the pause would last. U.S. crude futures fell below $100 per barrel following the announcement. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said 10 civilian sailors have died due to the ongoing conflict in the Strait of Hormuz.
So frankly, the way to put it, these are innocent bystanders. And so they're sitting ducks. They're isolated, they're starving, they're vulnerable. And at least 10 sailors have already died as a result of the civilian sailors. So already many nations privately and some publicly have asked the United States to help free their ships and to restore freedom of navigation in the Straits of Hormuz and this critical artery of global trade.
In Hawaii, stunning footage of the Kilauea volcano erupting in what officials call episode 46 of lava fountaining. The U.S. Geological Survey says the volcano is currently under an orange watch, signaling heightened unrest and increased eruption risk. Officials add the current episode is unlikely to produce taller lava fountains going forward. In Mexico, hundreds of residents turned out to mark the 164th anniversary of Cinco de Mayo, the annual celebration of its legendary victory over French forces in 1862. Crowds gathered to watch a reenactment of the historic Battle of Puebla, where troops defeated the French army of Napoleon Bonaparte. Cinco de Mayo is famed for its parades and costume performances that bring the community together.
Representarlo es un orgullo porque no cualquiera.
Representing it is a pride because not just anyone does this. I was born here in Penin de los Baños, and in the 38 years I have been alive, I have come out here, and it is a pride to present this reenactment of the 5th of May.
Big news in the NBA, Oklahoma strikes first in the Western Conference semifinal series, taking Game 1 against Los Angeles 108-90. Playing on home court, the top-seeded Thunder leaned on their depth and defense, forcing 17 turnovers that led to 20 points while keeping the Lakers' offense in check. Chet Holmgren had 24 points and 12 rebounds to lead Oklahoma, while LeBron James led LA with 27 points. The Lakers' 90 points were their fewest in a postseason game since 2021. In Brazil, there's a street in Rio that has kept alive the tradition of decorating for the World Cup. On Pereira Nunes Street in the Villa Isabel neighborhood, residents have gathered every 4 years for the past 48 years to paint murals on the ground and walls ahead of the tournament. This year, the flags of the 3 co-host countries have been added to the display alongside Brazil's national colors and the tournament's trophy. Organizers say the mural transmits a message of peace, tolerance, and inclusion.
It's a great privilege. I've been here since I was little, since I was about his size. So now he's here for another year, taking part in the World Cup decorations, and having yet another generation involved is very important. It's what Celso, the organizer, always says, we do these decorations for him, his son, to keep this tradition alive.
Brazil last won the World Cup in 2002 in Japan. This will be the first World Cup since Italian manager Carlo Ancelotti took over as coach. Cebuano basketball icon Dondon Ontiveros continues to stay in the game, shifting his focus to coaching and player development while still making occasional returns to the court. At 48, Anton Rojas has the story.
Cebuano basketball icon Dondon Hontiveros continues to prove that his love for the game remains as strong as ever. At 48 years old, the 3-time PBA champion is still active on the court, this time sharing it with his 24-year-old son Isaiah, marking a rare father and son tandem in competitive basketball. But in a recent guesting on the Scorecard, Hontiveros made it clear that while he still enjoys playing, he has already moved on from his professional career and is now setting his sights on full-time coaching. Despite his transition into public service, the Cebuano hotshot has stayed deeply connected to the sport by taking on coaching roles while occasionally returning to competitive play. He is now set to take on a major role with the University of Cebu Lapu-Lapu and Mandaue, or UCLM, which is preparing for its debut in the Cebu Schools Athletic Foundation Incorporated, or CESAFI.
It's one way of giving back what UC has given me. Since I started playing for them in 1995, then I made it to the NBA. Then when I retired, they asked me to be part of the coaching staff as consultant. And ever since, I've been part of the team. But this year, I asked the president if we can make a program for the UCLM college basketball team. Why? Because you're passionate and of course you want to impart what you've learned for the longest time, and syempre gusto mo rin mag-graduate yung mga bata, not only sa basketball but of course sa academics. Yeah.
Hontiveros played for the University of Cebu in the mid-1990s before launching a decorated professional career that began in 1998. The 6'3" guard became one of the PBA's most reliable shooters, starring for several teams including the Alaska Aces, and also represented the Philippines in international competition. After retiring, he transitioned into public service in Cebu City, serving as councilor before eventually becoming vice mayor.
Nakapag-sports programs din kami, and some of those kids nakapaglaro sila ng unit meet, si Vera, and I think he made it to Palaro. So kids from the ground really, nabigyan namin ng program and opportunity nila na makapag-scholar because of our programs.
Hontiveros recently fell short in his bid to return as Cebu City Vice Mayor in the 2025 elections. Still, he says his focus now is on developing young athletes through UCLM while leaving the door open for a possible return to politics in the future. Anton Rojas, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Check out the weather. We're monitoring a low-pressure area last spotted 670 kilometers east of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur. For now, Pag-asa says it's unlikely to develop into a tropical depression within the next 24 hours. However, it may bring rains over parts of Visayas and Mindanao, as well as Palawan on Thursday and Friday. But outside Par, there's a tropical depression last seen some 2,000 kilometers east of northeastern Mindanao with maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour. This is moving westward and may enter Philippine territory this weekend. This will be assigned the name Kaloy and will be the third cyclone for 2026. But based on current projections, this potential storm is unlikely to make landfall. Pag-asa says there's a low chance that this will directly affect the country in the next 3 to 5 days. The prevailing system today is still the easterlies, bringing warm and humid conditions, especially in Metro Manila and across Luzon. Based on Pag-asa's forecast, it expects up to 2 tropical cyclones forming within or entering Par this month. Global superstar Jennifer Lopez is making moves in the luxury real estate market. This after taking full ownership of her Beverly Hills mansion following her split from Ben Affleck. The property is now back on the market with an asking price of just under $50 million, a significant drop from its original listing of around $68 million in mid-2024. The estate, spanning about 38,000 square feet, features 12 bedrooms and 24 bathrooms, with millions more invested in upgrades. Following their divorce settlement earlier this year, Affleck transferred his share of the property to Lopez, meaning she stands to keep any profits from the sale. And Oscar-winning actress Angelina Jolie is also selling her historic Los Feliz estate for nearly $30 million. The property, once owned by filmmaker Cecile B. DeMille, was purchased in 2017 following her split from Brad Pitt. Set on over 2 acres, the estate features multiple structures and offers sweeping views of the Hollywood Hills and the Griffith Observatory, adding to its classic appeal. With ties to early Hollywood figures like Charlie Chaplin and Julia Morgan, the property is considered a rare piece of film history. And that's the Midday Report. I'm Mai Rodriguez. See you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Stay informed and stay safe.